How did Iran shift from a rapidly modernizing nation under Muhammad Shah to a theocratic state? This question takes us back to the era of Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, who ruled Iran from 1941 to 1979. During this period, Iran was on a fast track to modernization and westernization. The Shah's policies were revolutionary. He promoted secular education, championed women's rights, and curtailed the influence of the clergy. However, the cultural conflict that ensued was inevitable. The swift and sweeping changes under the Shah were a stark contrast to the strict religious governance that would follow after the Islamic Revolution. This abrupt shift created a cultural conflict that many, especially those who grew up during the Shah's era or were exposed to Western values, found hard to reconcile with. The Pahlavi era left a lasting impact on the Iranian society, an impact that would later clash with the post-revolutionary Islamic regime. What turned Iran from a monarchy to an Islamic theocracy? This question takes us back to the year 1979, when an event of seismic proportions shook Iran and the world, the Islamic Revolution. Spearheaded by Ayatollah Khomeini, this revolution overthrew the secular Pahlavi dynasty and replaced it with an Islamic theocracy. The revolution marked the start of an era of rapid Islamization in Iran. The country's legal system was overhauled with the introduction of Sharia law, and strict religious practices became the norm. The once cosmopolitan Iran was transformed into a state where religion was not just a matter of personal faith, but a blueprint for governance and daily life. However, over time, this drastic change began to chafe. Many Iranians who had experienced life before the revolution began to feel the pinch of the new regime. Political repression became rampant, economic struggles intensified, and personal freedoms dwindled. Religion, once a source of solace and spirituality, was now being used to justify political power and control. This led to a growing disillusionment among the people, causing some to question their faith and the intertwining of religion and politics. The young generation in particular felt the strain of the regime's strictures. For them, the internet served as a window to the outside world, exposing them to a spectrum of ideas and values that clashed with the regime's rigid ideology. This clash, in turn, fueled a sense of discontent and a longing for personal freedom and expression. It wasn't just the youth feeling this discontent. Artists, intellectuals, and activists found themselves at odds with the regime's narrative. They used literature, cinema, and other art forms to express dissent and explore secular or alternative spiritual ideas. The Islamic Revolution marked a pivotal point in Iran's history, leading to a profound change in its religious landscape. This isn't just a historical fact, but a living reality for millions of Iranians who grapple with the consequences of this revolution every day. The revolution didn't just transform Iran's political structure, it changed the way Iranians experienced and understood their faith. What are the social, cultural, and personal factors contributing to the changing religious landscape in Iran? Let's delve into the heart of the matter. The Iranian youth, a significant portion of the population, are increasingly critical of the restrictions imposed by the regime. Being connected to global cultures through the internet and social media, they're attracted to secular and liberal values, causing a rift between them and the state-imposed religion. At the same time, Iran's intellectual and artistic movements are challenging the regime's narrative. Art forms like literature and cinema have become platforms for expressing dissent and exploring secular or alternative spiritual ideas. A major point of contention lies in women's rights and gender discrimination. The mandatory hijab and strict dress codes, along with legal and social inequality in marriage, divorce, inheritance, and employment, have led many Iranian women to question the religious justifications for such inequalities. The religious landscape is also influenced by the closures of mosques, signifying a weakening of traditional religious structures. This, combined with perceived corruption among the clergy, has led to a disillusionment with organized religion. Last but not least, Iranians are seeking personal freedom and individual expression, which they feel is restricted by the strictures of state-imposed religion. Exposure to a variety of religious and philosophical ideas has led some to explore alternative beliefs. These diverse factors have led to a complex and evolving religious landscape in Iran, indicating a shift away from traditional Islam. What are the key takeaways from the changing religious landscape in Iran? From the modernization under Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi to the Islamic Revolution's drastic shift, Iran's religious identity has undergone significant transformations. Factors such as political disillusionment, cultural conflict, youth discontent, women's rights issues, and personal exploration have all played a role. The decline in mosque attendance and the rise in secular and liberal values reflect these changes. As Iran continues to evolve, the religious landscape will undoubtedly continue to shift and shape the nation's future.